Welcome back, guys. Equity Podcast. Berek here. Talking about effort today. What we're going to talk about is like what effort is, what it isn't, what we mean by giving effort in a workout. Sometimes that can be a little misconstrued, so we're just going to help define it a little bit. So the first thing is effort is when we're doing a workout, we want to give as much effort as we can, but that's very vague. So we want an effort is a choice, and what we put into that workout is going to determine what we get out of that workout. What you put in is what you get out. And the first thing that I want to talk about is intensity. I think that's what most people think of when they think effort. It's like, oh, effort is intensity. I have to go hard. If I don't go hard, then I didn't give a lot of effort, which isn't necessarily the case. When somebody first comes into the gym and we have our no sweat intro, I always talk about mechanics, consistency, then intensity, right? We want to see the first two before we see the last one. And when we say intensity, we do not mean absolute maximum intensity. If you try and do that every day, you're going to have a bad time. It's not sustainable. What we're looking for is relative intensity. And we mean that in a few different ways. The first one is relative intensity. It is, what's the stimulus of the workout? If it's a 35-minute workout, the relative intensity is going to be different than if it's a 4-minute workout, right? That 4-minute, you're going to push a lot harder, a lot faster. And the perceived exertion in that workout is going to be much higher. Now, if we go to the flip side of that 35-minute workout, the first half of that is going to be relatively low intensity. It's going to be slow. It's going to be that steady state type of workout. So just depending on the workout itself, the effort is going to be different, right? Then what we can get caught up into is what's intense for me is going to be different for my grandmother, which is going to be different for my mom, which is going to be different for Krista, right? All of those different intensities are going to be different. So we want to, judging your intensity based on other people isn't what we're looking for. We want your intensity for that workout, right? What is an intense workout for you at 4 minutes? What's an intense workout for you? What's an intensity that we can handle for that 4 minutes, for that 35-minute workout? So it's your intensity, right? Relative to you, not to others. And then on top of it being your intensity, we can get caught into this, hey, last year I did Fran at 4 minutes, and then this year I did it at 4:30. So I got worse. There can be a lot of factors. If you had a tough day, if you had a tough week, if there are things that just didn't line up for you to perform super well in that workout that day, your relative intensity for you on that day might have been low, right? If you were on your feet from the time you woke up until the time you got to the gym, and you were very, you had a lot of stress on you that day, just getting into the gym might have been the win. So PRing a benchmark workout just might not have been in the cards, and that's okay. So what is the relative intensity that you can get on this particular day, on that day? And some days it might be walking into the gym and just moving through the motions, and other days it might not be. So that, for example, the other day, literally last week, I didn't have any caffeine, and I was looking at the computer a lot that day. I was doing a lot of up and downs, like looking at the computer, looking at something else on the desk, and all that up and down has a tendency to give me a headache. I did a lot of coaching that day as well, and some of it was unplanned. And so I was really busy that day, and I started getting a headache around noon, but it kind of eased up a little bit. And a lot of times when I start working out, my headache will dissipate and it'll go away. But it didn't do that. So I took class and I started it and it was doing okay. But as soon as I started the workout and I started rowing, all that tension on that rower and the drive the headache was awful. And I couldn't finish the workout. So I had to just stop and do something else. But what did I got to warm up. I got to take class. I got to see everybody. I got to be around everybody. I got to work on my strict pull-ups. I got to work on my rowing technique in the beginning when it was a little bit low intensity. So like it wasn't a throwaway. I could have just not worked out that day at all. I could have just not gone in. Like, Chris, I can't come in today. But I was still able to get something out of that workout today. So on that day. So that in that particular case, the relative intensity was just get in there and get some work done. Sometimes it's just, hey, I'm just going to go through the motions today. And other times it's, all right, I'm ready to get it. I'm going to push it today. I literally text Jen this morning, I'm coming after you today. So hopefully she's ready for that. All right. Okay, so we talked about the relative intensity thing. Now, like the next thing, are you giving the workout the effort that it needs? Are you hitting the stimulus? Are you hitting the goal of the workout, right? Every workout that we have, we talk about the stimulus and like the specific, hey, this should be done in 2 sets in about a minute. Like, are you hitting that specific stimulus? If you're not hitting that, we're not hitting the effort. We're not doing the effort to hit that workout. So are we attacking the workout in a way that we're supposed to be? Are we hitting the goals of the workout? Are we hitting the stimulus of the workout? And that's really big. By doing that, we're going to be hitting that stimulus so that we're seeing the changes that we want, right? We want to make sure that we're working towards those things, like when those goals are very specific, so that we can start using some heavier weights. We can start doing some bigger sets. We can, it's meant to stretch that goal, right? Trying to hit 1 to 2 sets on toes a bar, with a set of 10 can be really challenging. But if you never try for it, if you always do singles, we're never going to get anywhere. So by maybe pulling back a little bit, it's like, hey, I know I can do 10 toes a bar, but the goal is 1 to 2 sets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the reps back to 6, and I'm going to try and do 3 and 3, right? Like, yes, you might be doing less work, but you're hitting that goal and stimulus. So in the long term, we're going to be able to do more. We're going to be able to do even more work by pulling back now. So are we hitting the goals and the stimulus of the workout? Another part of that is, are we hitting your goal and stimulus? Or not stimulus so much, but are we hitting your goals? So for example, if you really want to hit the strict pull-up, for example, maybe we pull back that fast. We're not just always trying to go as fast as possible. We focus on whenever pull-ups come up, we're working on that strict motion. Or if that barbell comes up, we're focusing on a little bit more of the strength side stuff. We focus on the strength a little bit longer than the sweat stuff. So like using a train track versus the sweat track, that can help us get to those strict pull-ups a little bit easier. Or hey, same thing with the toes to bar. If I want to link toes to bar, always doing singles isn't going to get me there. So I need to practice practice linking them. And when I practice linking them, I might not get my best score possible. If I were to do singles in a workout, I'll get way better. But you're also not learning that skill of linking. So maybe that day, if I'm trying to learn linking toes bar, my best effort is being slower because I'm learning that skill. This is where if we were in person, I'll say, does that make sense? Does that make sense? I hope so. I talk about this a lot of times in no sweats intros or when in on ramps when people first starting. I don't care if you're fitter in a month, in 3 months. What I care is if you're fitter in 5 and 10 years. We want that low and slow. We want that consistency. I want that low trajectory, but with a far horizon on us trying to get better, fitter in the long run. 5 to 10 years. We are here to help improve health and fitness and quality of life. And short-term gains, trying to be the fittest we possibly can in 6 months, in 3 months, in a year, isn't going to get us there. That's how people burn out. And we'll get a little bit more into that in a little bit. We want that slow trajectory up. And how we get there is through consistency and relative intensity. So those are kind of like the some of the more CrossFit type stuff. A little bit more on the mindset side of things. I would say those are more physical, right? These are going to be a little bit, the next ones are going to be a little bit more of the mind space. So the first one is, are you happy with your results? Not, and that's in isolation. Without looking at the leaderboard, are you happy with your effort? Did you hit your relative intensity? Did you hit the goals? Did you hit the stimulus? Are you happy with what you gave today? If the answer is yes, awesome. If the answer is no, that's okay. We can still actually be happy with that in a roundabout way. So the next part leads into that, which is, all right, we're not happy with our effort today. Okay. What can we learn from that? That is an opportunity, okay? Whenever something doesn't go as planned, that's good. We want that to happen because it's an opportunity to get better. It's an opportunity to realize something that we can improve on. The workout may not have gone to plan, but I learned something about that. Hey, I thought I could do 4s on toes to bar, but I did 1 set and then I couldn't do that. All right, so now we know that. Oh, I went way too hot out the gate to start. Now we know. Oh, I went way too light today. I could have went I definitely could have went heavier. I should have went heavier. All right, we learned something. So now when we go to our next workout, the next time those toes to bar show up, the next time overhead squats show up, we know we can adjust because we learned something. So those are the 2 mindset pieces. Like, are you happy without looking at the leaderboard at your workout? Did you put in that effort? That's where we want to be able to. And then if not, it's like, man, I wish I would have done this. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Just learn from it. It's like, all right, next time I can do this. Don't dwell on it. Don't react to it. Respond to it. Sorry, this is what happened. I can take that, learn from it in the future. All right. So now what I want to talk about is what is not effort. And I've touched on these a little bit, but I just want to make sure to go out of my way to specify this. What is not good effort is max intensity every day. Doing absolutely the heaviest thing you can that day. Going the absolute fastest that day. That is how you burn out. That is not sustainable. Now, if we're, for some benchmarks, we want to give that max intensity, that's okay for that day. But that next day, you probably shouldn't be going max again, right? There are days where we want to compete. Not necessarily compete with everybody else, but we want to see, hey, what am I capable of today? There's times we want to do that, but we don't want to do that every day. Doing the most weight, the fastest times every day is going to lead to burnout. The second part, it's not leaderboarding. It's not, hey, I win or lose based on where I'm at on the leaderboard. It's completely arbitrary. The leaderboard is there to inspire. It's not there to compare. Where we get into trouble is when we link our happiness to those results. When we link our accomplishments, our self-worth with those. We want to be inspired by that. We want that to be able to push us a bit, but we don't want it to be where we're beating ourselves up because we're not where we want to be on the leaderboard. Building that consistency, using that relative intensity, we're going to get the results we want. It might take a little bit longer, but generally, the longer something takes, the more likely it is to stay around. If you build strength over years of constantly building strength, and then you can't work out for 3 months, you're going to lose a little bit of strength, but you're still going to have a lot there at the end. Louis Simmons, he passed away this year. 1,000-pound squatter. He may juiced. He definitely did. But it doesn't matter. He still lifted 1,000 pounds, right? It still takes a lot of work. He broke his back, and when he came back, he was still able to squat 600 pounds. That's like it's literally 60% of what he was able to do. But that's still really, really freaking strong. Because he spent years getting strong, he still had a lot of strength there. So it's not max intensity every day. It's not comparing yourself every day. Last thing, wrap it all up. Remember to have fun. We are trying to be healthy and fit over time. This is not about next year. It's not about 2 years down the road. It's about being 80 or 90 years old and still being mobile and still being able to do the things you want to do. Still being witty, still being able to keep up with all those young 60-year-olds. We want to be able to play with our kids and our grandkids as long as possible. We're not training for the Open. We're not training for quarterfinals. We're training for life. We're training for health. We're training to be able to do fun things. And that's what we're looking for. We want to have fun in the gym. Right? I didn't text Jen today telling her I'm coming for her because it matters if I beat her or not. It doesn't. I'm probably not going to win, and that's okay. But it's just fun to have a little bit of competition. It's fun just to come in and talk to people and have fun and, just have a good time with it. I don't need to, I come in and do Fran and my time's slower. That's okay. I still had fun doing it. I pushed. I had a good time. I was around people that are trying to get better. I'm trying to get better. Have fun with it. Mix it up. Try new things. All right. This went way longer than I was anticipating. I was expecting this to be like sub 10. It was a little longer. So, thank you guys for watching or listening, whatever you're doing. And thanks to Mandy. This idea came from her. So I appreciate it. And thanks again, guys. If you have any feedback, let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. What should I talk about next? Should I start having people on the podcast so you just don't have to look at my ugly face? Let me know. Cheers.